Hey everybody, today I'm going to go over and review the DM's Guild supplement Faiths of the Forgotten Realms, which has abilities and spells that are tied directly to a Forgotten Realms god. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent, and welcome to a new series where I'm going to review DM's Guild material that I feel is A, cool, and B, pertinent to the Forgotten Realms. So if you're running a game in the Forgotten Realms, a lot of these supplements can help you make a more robust world or tie your character into a particular sect of the Forgotten Realms. And for example, today we're going to go over Faiths of the Forgotten Realms, which has abilities and spells for Paladins and Clerics, the divine classes that will tie directly to the gods of the Forgotten Realms. If you are new here, I would love to have you subscribe. I make D&D lore videos on Eberron and Forgotten Realms and Planescape and all over D&D. So if you're interested in the lore of Dungeons & Dragons, hit the subscribe button, or if you're interested in more videos like this, please subscribe as well. Now let's dive in. So here we are on D&D Beyond, and we're looking at the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, not the most popular book that Wizards of the Coast has put out, but it has been a good resource for me. There are a detailed explanation of all of the different gods in the Forgotten Realms in this book, but particularly I wanted to go down to the religion in the realms, and if you scroll down all the way to the Faerunian Pantheon, got that word out okay? It'll tell you the deity and what domain that deity reflects. So for example, Agony is the goddess of air, and you would choose the Tempest domain. Bane is the god of tyranny, you would choose the war domain. Helm, the god of watchfulness, you would choose life or light. So these are the domains in the player's handbook that D&D Wizards of the Coast has said, we feel that if you're going to choose this particular character, you should play this domain, and the domain will reflect that god. It doesn't always work like that though. Like Kasuth, the god of fire, you're gonna choose the light domain, and that might work. Like Loviatar is one of my favorite goddesses, and she is the goddess of pain, and you would choose the death domain. And although that's technically correct, she's a lawful evil goddess, and there's not anything that really reflects. She's not about death, she's about inflicting pain and suffering and living through that pain and suffering, etc. So if I wanted to play a cleric or a paladin of Loviatar, it would be cool to have abilities that were centered around that deity specifically. And that is what we are going to talk about today, because this supplement, Faiths of the Forgotten Realms, has all kinds of awesome stuff in it for paladins and clerics to have their character be tied directly to their god. The abilities and spells that are offered in this supplement will help you be a better player for Bane or Azuth or Gond or Eldath or any of the gods in the Forgotten Realms. So specifically, let's go back to our Loviatar discussion. We'll kind of walk Loviatar through this entire thing. Now, chapter 1 is about deeper faith. So if I go all the way down to Loviatar, we're going to go right here. This kind of tells you where the major points and shrines are for Loviatar, where worship is plentiful, so that could be where you're coming from. There are background story options, so you can roll a d4 or just kind of go with it, but let's say I was tortured once and withstood the pain without breaking. Followers of Loviatar took me in, healing my wounds and teaching me the willing whip's dogma. And so using this, you can kind of, I don't know, build a character backstory out of that. And then scrolling down even further, we get into chapter 2, and specifically, let's go down to Loviatar again. Loviatar. So Loviatar, maiden of pain, the willing whip, patroness of torturers, I should say. Loviatar seems straightforward to the uninitiated. She is well known as the goddess of torture and pain. What the common folk don't know is how dedicated the Maiden of Pain is to her pantheon. The Willing Whip professes a dogma that mixes pleasantry with agony, healing with suffering. The greatest of the goddess's followers aren't those who wantonly focus on bringing suffering to others. Her true champions are those who know how to enthrall, knowing that moments of respite make the return to pain all the sweeter. So With this, they're creating a new domain for you. So again, looking at this, we get interesting new spells, Dissonant Whispers, Whip of Pain, which I believe is a new spell, Mind Spike, Dance of Pain, Kiss of Torment, Phantasmal Killer, Hold Monster, things like that. So when you choose this at first level, you gain proficiency with Insight and Intimidation skills. Also at first level, your delight in tearing at a foe's mind brings Leviatar's reward. When I deal, or when you deal, psychic damage to another creature as part of a weapon, attack, or spell, you can use this feature as part of the attack or spell to regain hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. Your channel Divinity is Imposing Psyche. You can cause a creature's mind to wither under your hateful gaze. As an action, you select a target within 60 feet of you that you can see and roll a Charisma Intimidation check. The target makes a saving throw and takes 3d8 plus Wisdom modifier and psychic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. At level 6, you get Sweet Agony, where you can roll hit dice, expend hit dice to do damage to yourself and regain spell slots, which is kind of interesting. And then Cruel Efficiency. At 17th level, you learn how to maximize the effectiveness of your psychic attacks. And when you roll psychic damage as part of a weapon, attack, or spell, you may re-roll any die that is a result of 1 or 2 and use the new one. Now, this also works for Paladins because they're working this in. So Paladin Oath, this is Oath of the Lash. And you excel at bearing incredible pain and torturing others and things like that. So it gives you some tenets and some oath spells. You get Command, Whip of Pain, Magic Weapon, Kiss of Torment, Dominate Person, Planner Binding. With your channel Divinity, you can enthrall a victim. Choose a target within 30 feet of you. The target must make a Wisdom saving throw or it is charmed by you for a minute. Lash Out. When you are hurt, you can return the pain you suffered in kind. As a bonus action, you can create a field of pain in a 10-foot radius around you. Until the start of your next turn, you add 1d8 to the field's damage for each successful weapon or spell attack made against you. It's just fun. It's just really interesting that you can take a specific god and get abilities that really do reflect that. So in this case, both the Oath of the Lash and the Torment domain really do reflect each other much better than the Death domain, which is what Sword Coast Adventures Guide gave us, because there's not a good amount of evil cleric abilities within Dungeons & Dragons, but this is cool because you don't necessarily have to be evil. You just kind of have to follow the faith of Leviatar and her not necessarily about tormenting people, but suffering is pain. I like to think of it that way. So one of the reasons she's my favorite goddess. So you get some new spells. Dance of Pain. Make a melee spell attack against a creature. On a hit, you surround the creature with swirling lines of energy. While you maintain concentration, the lines of energy jump randomly to unoccupied adjacent space at the start of the target's turn each round. If the creature doesn't move into this space or attempts to move anywhere other than that space, it must make a Wisdom saving throw or take 3d6 psychic damage. Forcing the target out of the designated space also triggers the saving throw, which is kind of... Kiss of Torment, you whisper a curse and touch a target creature making a spell attack against it. On hit, you do some psychic damage, which is interesting. And then Whip of Pain is a level 1 spell that you evoke a crackling whip of dark energy and hit creatures with it. So it's the layout of this book is really good. And we could go through a whole bunch of different gods. We've got, what's an interesting god that's not necessarily evil? So I also like Savras. We have a Monk of Savras in my game, and it's just been fun. So Savras is about divination and seeing the truth and knowing things in the future, etc. So the divine domain here is the revelation domain. The clergy of Savras doesn't seek to bend fortunes to good or ill like other religions, so much as their beliefs are that with accurate information comes the best opportunities to make choices based upon objective truths and facts. Really interesting. Like we could do a, let's look back at our thing. So if we choose Savras, Arcana and Knowledge, not really what we're looking for here, not what is listed here, that really makes it shine. So Moving down, anticipation, command, locate object, clairvoyance, divination, commune, scrying. First level, you gain proficiency with perception and insight. Moving forward, we get other cool abilities let's look at our channel Divinity. When initiative is rolled, you can use your channel Divinity to see into the near future in an area surrounding you, gaining insight to act more freely. For a number of rounds equal to your wisdom modifier, you ignore your place in the initiative order. Instead, you can choose to act at any time in a round. That's really fun. I really like this supplement a lot. There are, like, if I'm going to play in the Forgotten Realms and you want to have gods be a major part of the realms, I would very much recommend this to your players and your dungeon master. So this is interesting. Chapter 3 is about holy texts, and there are these artifacts or relics that your cleric or paladin could be searching for. Maybe this is a magic item they find. Again, it's a really good way to tie the god directly into your campaign. So going through this, let's look at Leviatar, because that's fun for Jordan. Leviatar, there we go. So Leviatar, the Lash of Leviatar, is another text that is no true book. The Lash of Leviatar is exactly what the name implies, a 4-foot braided leather whip speckled with silvery dust. Writing along the length of the whip displays some ritual or spell which changes each time the whip is used to strike and cause harm to a living creature. The whip has been passed from follower to follower in Leviatar's faith, often seen as a tool for disrupting complacency among the worshippers and sects who have strayed from the goddess's good graces. The following section contains description of divine tomes and texts. Unless otherwise noted, these works are unique, with only a single coveted copy known to be in existence. There might be replicas or forgeries, etc. A dungeon master may wish to include these items as powerful artifacts or interesting oddities. If you are a dungeon master and wish to have these texts grant access to certain spells or contain hidden divine power, you may wish to treat them as artifacts using either the major or minor properties as described in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So we could take these, and that whip, for example, we could make it a +1 item and make it that as he's using it, he's uncovering new spells. So this could be a way for your cleric to get access to their domain spells if you want to throw in a little more of a challenge for your player. And then finally, we have magic items. I do not believe there is an item for every god in here, but there are a lot. So the Amulet of Lathander, the Black Hand, Candle of Disruption, Claws of Malar, really interesting stuff. Then we have some holy artifacts, as well as the magic items that are above. So artifact property there's a new artifact property here called Overwhelming, which these divine artifacts are particularly powerful, which makes them volatile. In place of the usual mechanic of including major or minor detrimental properties to account for this, you can now have the option to make these divine artifacts overwhelming. An overwhelming artifact causes a creature in possession of it to regain half the usual number of hit points after a long rest, or hit dice rather. In addition, at the end of each long rest, there is a 50% chance that the creature gains a level of exhaustion. So you're using these with a price, but they are powerful, and so that's kind of the fun. Assassin's Black Blade, Blood of Lathander, Claw of Malar, like just fun stuff. Crown of Horns, which is tied to Merkel. As a dungeon master, I think it's a great way to plug magic items into your Forgotten Realms game that are specific to the Forgotten Realms, rather than kind of, I don't know, juggling it around. Like this amulet of whatever is actually an amulet of Lathander. You have that. For your players, it's really valuable. And so I think this is a good supplement for players, especially Clerics and Paladins. So here we are on the Dungeon Masters Guild. This PDF runs you $20, which as far as PDFs go, I know that a lot of us like $5 PDFs, but I really think that money is worth it for the amount of stuff that you're getting. Also, really cool, if you want to pay a little bit extra, you can get a hardcover version. And this is a book that I don't have a hardcover of, but I really like the idea of having this on my shelf because I like to collect books. So Looking back at this, chapter 1, you're going to get understanding of calendars, holiday and festivals, holy sites, etc. for each of the gods. You're going to get archetypes of the faiths, 50 cleric domains, 50 paladin oaths, 2 druid circles, and 1 ranger, and 179 spells available specifically to certain faiths. Descriptions of lore and holy texts for that god, as well as 18 magical items and 13 holy artifacts. If you are running a game in the Forgotten Realms, this is a very valuable resource for your clerics, paladins, and the like. If you are running a game anywhere else but using the Forgotten Realms Pantheon, this also can be extremely useful. Faiths of the Forgotten Realms, you can find it on the DM's Guild by clicking the link below in the doobly-doo. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your gaming group, and subscribe for more. I make videos on Dungeons & Dragons lore as well as other topics. I'm gonna do more of these DM's Guild reviews about really awesome things for the Forgotten Realms and just, I don't know, things that might be useful to you or me as dungeon masters and players. I'm also going to get back into my semi-weekly GM prep videos. So if you want to see how I would craft a game, my upcoming campaigns, I'm going to be doing that, and then you can watch said game later on. Thank you again so much, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.